What's going on, sports fans? This is Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Lavalette.
Welcoming you to the studio here at WTV10 with, of course, another Friday Roundtable in this beautiful summer of 2026. Let's start off with the norm. Some baseball talk.
Absolutely. And Tigers, they took 2 or 3 from the Cubs and also took 2 or 3 from the Angels on their recent road trip. Came home yesterday and came with a comeback win against the Kansas City Royals 4-3. They will be having Tarek Skubal on the mound tonight to continue their 4-game weekend series, honoring the team's 125th anniversary celebrations. And they're still fourth in the division, so not much ground gained in that sense, but progress is progress. The question is this one of the last, if not the last time we see Tarek Skubal pitching for the Tigers in Detroit prior to the trade deadline? We'll have to see what happens when we get towards August, as the trade deadline will happen while they're on a 10-game road trip. They will have finished their time in Sacramento before going to Seattle when the trade deadline happens on the 3rd.
All right, to my man Tyler Lavalette and to the rest of the Tigers fans out there, I'll give you guys your flowers. You took 2 of 3 against us. All right, so Detroit, this is another renewal of that Detroit-Chicago sports rivalry. Detroit got the better of us this time. But I will say this. It doesn't bum me out too much because, if anything, I dislike the Cardinals and the White Sox more than I dislike the Tigers. So,
well, that's good. At least we're on the same page in terms of AL Central allegiances on that front. You have made your disdain for those Southsiders pretty well known by this point.
It's one of those cases of there can only be one. I can only root for one Chicago team in baseball. It's going to be the Cubs because they were my grandfather's team. He helped me become a fan of the Cubs, so that's just the way it is. So, back to the Tigers. Okay, well-deserved series win for them. They outplayed us. Took Game 1, and then Game 2 was all Cubs, and then Game 3 all Tigers. And I will say this. All right, so you might think not a whole lot of ground gained for the Tigers, but here's the thing. They are sitting at 49-54. That's a lot better, though, than what they were looking before. So they're closing that gap to 500. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. And they are 6-4 in their last 10 games. So it's not out of the postseason. It's not out of the question for the Detroit Tigers just yet. It's not out of it. Maybe this is just the start of that late summer surge that the Tigers are looking for or have, at the very least, been prepping for. All right, it comes at the expense of my Cubs, and I have to lick my wounds and swallow my pride being a Cubs fan. But, hey, if the Tigers can keep doing things like this, keep taking, 2 of 3 each and every series that they play, or at least most series, if not all, they're going to have a chance to get themselves back on the bubble and back in the playoff picture. So, not all hope is lost. And, all right, we'll see if they decide to trade Skubal. We'll see, but if I'm the Tigers, I try to see how much longer you can hold on to him for. Okay, so you might be flirting with danger with that trade deadline if you want to get some more draft capital, but intriguing decisions up ahead for Detroit, who may be onto something heading into August.
Absolutely. Oh, and fun fact, if you watched last night's Tigers-Royals game and noticed a pitcher for the Royals by the name of Randy Dobnak, he was the first player to have spent time in Utica at the USPBL, whose league I interviewed 2 of the Unicorns players with last week. Dobnak made his played for them in 2017 as part of in his journey to help to become a player for eventually the Twins, and then the Mariners and other teams, and he even spent time with the Tigers farm system. Wish we brought him up in September, but oh well. Anyway, he's now with the Royals and doing pretty well from what I've been seeing.
And in that last Friday Roundtable podcast, in which we had that interview with Tyler and those Utica players, they talked about, the path and the possibilities to the MLB. Well, there's the evidence right there that baseball players from smaller leagues like the United Shores League, as Tyler mentioned, there is a path to get to the MLB, and we've just seen an example of it. I'm so happy for that guy for the Royals. He's made it to the MLB, and hey, for all the aspiring baseball players out there in smaller leagues, it can be done. You could do it.
Yeah, like you talked about, like those guys talked about. There's the possibility of scouts coming to even unannounced, and you have to be ready for that moment. So hey, Dobnak got his moment, and sure, it ended up being from YouTube videos that got the Twins' attention. But hey, Utica plays a part. The fact that Andy Dirks mentioned the Unicorns last night, that was awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I'm happy when someone from even a smaller league finds his way to the big times, the big leagues, regardless of what sport. And here's the thing, teams across all these sports, they're looking for talent in every area that they can search out. Hey, no matter who these players play for, teams are looking for the best players possible. And if they think someone from a smaller league can outplay others in a bigger league, they won't just scout them out. They'll find ways to get them up to the big leagues. And this is another example of a guy getting noticed in all the right ways and making his way up to the MLB in this case. Awesome stuff.
Yep, that it was. And it was pretty cool that when he did start for the Twins in 2019, I think it was, that his debut ended up being in Detroit. So he got to go sign autographs at the Jimmy John's Field at that time a few days later, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Talk about a bit of a homecoming right before his big event. Good stuff. All right, as I mentioned, of course, the Cubs, they didn't do so hot against the Tigers. Lost 2 of 3. And the good news is, though, for now, it doesn't hurt the Cubs too much, as they are still sitting second in the NL Central at 57-45. Of course, they're 5-5 in their last 10, so at 500, still kind of less than ideal. And they are still 7 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers. So not much has really changed, although nice thing is with this Cubs-Tigers series, and something Tyler mentioned, we were talking about it, Tyler even sent me a nice video of showing how not only how the scoreboard at Wrigley works, because it's about as old school as they get. They need people to move those pieces of metal to update the scores, but the people who work the scoreboards, they got some attention. They got some interviews, and it was really awesome to see.
Yeah, kudos to both the Cubs scoreboard people and allowing Daniela Bruce to climb up the ladder to get into the scoreboard. They can interview Daryl. She could interview Daryl. That was pretty awesome. That they also did camera shots of her underneath where the Cardinals Angels score would be, and so that we could see her from one of from seeing the view they get when having one of so that they can watch the game. It's pretty impressive stuff with all those heavy pieces of metal you have to lift in.
All those numbers you got to shift into place, and it takes a team effort to move all those numbers from place to place all across that scoreboard. But regardless of whether you like or hate the Cubs, all right, in my opinion, you cannot deny it that the Cubs are keeping an old school type of scoreboard, and the only one left of its kind in existence, it's a pretty awesome thing. It's also, being a guy who studied history at Oakland University, let me just tell you, the things that we humans do to preserve history and to teach people how things were back then, in this case, how baseball worked back in those days, how we updated scores in those days. It's awesome to go back in time, each and every game at Wrigley Field, and just watch all the pieces of the scoreboard being moved, one here, one bit here. It's awesome. And me and Tyler, we were lucky enough to see that in 2024, and it still has not I was still learning more about just how meaningful this piece of history or this national treasure of a scoreboard is. We must protect it at all costs.
Absolutely. And again, kudos to the Cubs. And nice job, Daniela, being brave enough to climb up into that scoreboard to interview Daryl at the Cubs game on Tuesday night, as Wednesday's game was on ESPN. But hey, that's pretty awesome. And another aspect is, like Gus, that's why we love the broadcast crew. Stuff like that, along with funny things like rain delay questions and the overall chemistry that they have, especially with her, Jason Benetti, and Andy Dirks. That is just so freaking awesome.
Yeah. Because, I mean, not just the I was just going to add, not just the climb up into that scoreboard is risky itself, but also one could easily get claustrophobic, too, because it is a bit tight in there, moving around all the parts around and having multiple people up there. So no easy feat doing interviews up there, or what these people do to maintain the scoreboard and to keep it working.
And hey, there's not that Fenway also has his old scoreboard in at left field. That's not an easy place to be at, even if you're at the bottom of the Green Monster.
Got to protect that thing at all costs, too. Got to protect our history. So, a few other things. So, 3-game road series with the Pirates awaits the Cubs tonight. Hopefully, we can bounce back and take all 3 and, embarrass the Pittsburgh Pirates a little more. And, of course, the Tigers. Hey, they're still light. There's still a flame for the Tigers. There is still hope for the Detroit Tigers. They're not out of this yet. There's still a whole lot of baseball in August, whole lot of baseball in September. Just keep winning 2 out of 3 each and every series, and you are going to have a shot to at least get a wild card, maybe even more. Get hot this summer.
We'll see what happens if Chicago and Cleveland keep beating each other up, which I'm not sure if they have any more chances to do so, but still, anything could still happen down the stretch.
Yes, indeed. Still pretty much still a lot to be determined. I mean, like Tyler said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Got to take it one game at a time.
Absolutely.
And before we wrap up the baseball talk, okay, I want to give my mom some kudos here. She sent me this clip, and I think everybody else should see this next clip. This might be the play of the year in the MLB. Can we see it, please?
Can you command it? And that's what Brandon Young's been able to do this year. Tried a kick save, popped it up right to him. How about that play?
For those who don't know, this is, I believe, Brandon Young, I believe his name is. He's a pitcher for the Orioles.
Hit it softly, but then again, the minute you release it,
that to me is a soccer style pitch catch to himself.
Yep, well,
off the back leg.
I don't see that very often.
Throws it to the pitcher for the easy out right there.
Well, there you go. 6-6 version.
Ah, cool. Look what this is.
He made that look easy.
That is crazy. That is, in terms of baseball, that's the best play I've seen all year long in baseball. That is, regardless of who you're rooting for, whether you were rooting for the Orioles or the away team in that game, you just can't help but just say, that's incredible. That is just beyond. That's mind blowing. That's beyond comprehension. Maybe Young was inspired by the World Cup, kicking that ball to himself and then throwing the pitch to get that guy. It's a first, of course, but wow, that is play of the year in the MLB. Write that down. That's what I have to say about it.
If only ESPN would still have baseball tonight, that'd be a web gem.
Roll clip, Sports Center. Roll clip. All right. Now we're ready to shift some gears. And Tyler Lavalette has some massive, massive news coming out of the NBA of all leagues.
Yes. We had the NBA reports indicate they had to wait until King Lebron made his decision on where he was going to play. Reports indicated it could have been the Heat, it could have been the Cavs, for what would likely be his last team to play for because his time is coming to an end. Instead, he is going to the Philadelphia Sixers on a 2-year deal.
Wow. Okay. I'll admit, I kind of believe the reports that he might go to the Golden State Warriors because my thought process was, okay, he's looking to win a championship in what might be his final years. But here we are. He's going to the Sixers. The Philadelphia, you got yourself a king. You got yourself the best player in basketball, possibly at least of the 2000s. Of course, I mean, I'm not an NBA fan, but I will say I still think MJ's better than LeBron, but that's just my opinion. But LeBron's one of the best players we've seen in our time. And the 76ers of all teams, that definitely something I did not have in my bingo card. I thought maybe either he was going to go, as Tyler mentioned, either to Cleveland or Miami, where he really made a name for himself and right into the sunset set there, but no, this is just really, really huge surprise in my book. Wow.
It's poetic. 250 years ago, the founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence, seceding from the British crown and rejecting kings. In Philadelphia, 250 years later, that city's basketball team brings a king to their city, if you catch my drift.
In one of history's great ironies, we broke away from a king 250 years ago, and then 250 years later, Philadelphia decides, let's bring in a king anyways. We need to win a basketball championship.
Though, to be fair, I'm sure that over the British monarchy has made plenty of visits to Philly in over 250 years. So
Yeah. They still come here to the United States from time to time.
absolutely, it's not like we banned them forever. So,
Yeah.
but regardless, in a basketball sense, Philly is bringing a king. The process, as they call it, just got turbocharged big time. Now the question is, can they win a championship with him? Or is Philly going to be the team where he has no championship? Because he has at least one championship with the Cavs and the Lakers, and he has, I think it's 2 with the Heat.
You are correct there. He's got 4 total, 2 with the Heat, as Tyler mentioned, and of course 1 with Cleveland. He promised them a championship, and he gave them a championship. He delivered a championship to them,
That he did.
And of course the Lakers.
In the bubble.
The 2020. Don't even get me started.
Seriously, they're the one team that was not able to say, our championship, we can win our championship without such conditions. At least the Dodgers have won 2 since.
Yeah, and that's also, and of course, 2 teams from Los Angeles. But of course, the Dodgers, at least, I can respect what they do as much as I dislike them. But that's only because they win so much these days. Whereas the Lakers, I mean, there's all sorts of things that just drive me bonkers about that organization, politically speaking, and even outside of politics.
Ugh.
And also, a couple of questions that come to my mind about this move. One is, how much does LeBron have left in the tank? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still a great basketball player, but he's nearing the end of his NBA career. There's no question that time is short, and no question that this is probably that he's approaching the finish line. And it may or very likely will be in Philadelphia.
Yeah, the fact that he hints at one last championship in his statements, that tells me he's retiring in 28. After that, what do the partners at ESPN, Amazon, and NBC have to go with for their big superstar? Bronny is not exactly panning out as one would hope from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, hard to say who's going to be the big superstar. Maybe it's Steph Curry at this point. Who knows? Maybe it could be my guy, Zach Edey. I mean, okay,
Won't
I'm
be
buying.
Ivy.
Yeah. Oh, could be him.
I won't be.
Yeah. He's out of the NBA, unfortunately. For
Yeah,
good.
that's why I said won't.
be.
Because, I think the Pistons dodged the bullet by trading him.
In all seriousness, though, it's hard to say who's going to be the big superstar. It's hard to say who's going to, have the influence on the media and the matchups and deciding where the cameras go for each matchup.
And who's going to be the big superstar that ESPN has to lord us over with like they have with LeBron since 2003.
I'll confess this, all right? He's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I'll admit at times I have gotten tired of hearing about him. Not from, his play on the court, but some of his beliefs have kind of, outside of sports, have kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But that being said, though, I wish LeBron all the best, and I hope he's able to go out on the best note possible and Philadelphia's misery on the NBA side of things.
It's kind of funny. The Knicks win a championship, and another team in the Northeast Corridor figures, we need to find a way to beat them. Let's bring in the king.
Maybe he could take down those darn Knicks.
And then also the Celtics to worry about, too, and the Wizards are the Wizards.
Yeah.
We don't talk about them.
Yeah, the Wizard. Sometimes I feel bad for Washington Wizards fans. Like sometimes I just have to wonder, what's the direction of the Wizards? Do they have a direction? I hope they do, but it's hard to tell.
Maybe just being the doorstop for other teams. I don't know.
Neither do I.
Sorry, at least I'm not a fan of that team.
Same here. That being said, it'll be an interesting experiment going on in Philadelphia. It'll be interesting to see not only how LeBron James fits in with the rest of the team there and amongst the 76ers, but whether or not he still has enough left in the tank to bring Philadelphia a championship in pro basketball.
Personally, I was kind of hoping he'd pull a Verlander and go to Cleveland, but oh well. But at least we know someone who is pulling a Verlander, right?
You'd be right about that. And sports fans, if you said Patrick Kane, ding, 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 that is correct. And oh my goodness, sports fans, I am over the moon right now.
I gave you the best medicine after you had to deal with the 2 out of 3 loss the day after.
Yeah. Honestly, it is about time Kyle Davidson did something good for the Chicago Blackhawks. For those of you who haven't heard, and this was news that Tyler gave me, so credit to Mr. Tyler Lavalette, Patrick Kane is going to be back in that historic Chicago Blackhawks sweater, the best-looking sweater in the NHL, in my opinion, and a lot of people would say that. He's going to be back on a 2-year, $8 million deal with the Chicago Blackhawks. Very likely, he's going to play 2 more seasons, and then he'll ride off into the sunset and probably retire. But this is huge for the Blackhawks because Patrick Kane, in my opinion, he's still got something to give. Okay, so maybe he's not as good as what he once was when he helped the Blackhawks win three Stanley Cups. Mm-hmm. But he still has something to give. I mean, brings energy and scoring prowess to a Chicago Blackhawks team that needs that. Because don't get me wrong, there's good players on this Chicago Blackhawks offense, but we had times last year where the offense just went purely dry, almost as quiet as the batters for the Chicago Cubs.
Ouch.
It's something that just drives me absolutely I talk about it all the time. I'm like a broken record in that case. Patrick Kane. Now, here's the big thing, though. I want to say this. We're not going to be, okay, in terms of Patrick Kane coming back to the Blackhawks, what I'm looking for in terms of impact is not how many goals Patrick Kane scores. I'm not worried about that. What I want to see is how he inspires the next generation of Chicago Blackhawks. Can this next generation, guys like Connor Bedard, guys like Nick Lardis, guys like Frank Nazar, Oliver Moore, can they take the next steps with Patrick Kane leading the way for him? Because, we talk about one guy that comes to my mind a lot when it comes to the Blackhawks is Marian Hossa. He was a great hockey player, but what made his impact in Chicago so awesome was he was a veteran. And in places where even the young Blackhawks team in those days needed veteran leadership, Marian Hossa provided that push. So maybe, just maybe, Patrick Kane could do what Marian Hossa did in his time in Chicago when the Blackhawks established what we know as the Blackhawk Stanley Cup dynasty.
I'll say this as a Wings fan. It was still pretty cool to have him him and his son Archie in the winged wheel. I'll say that. It was awesome. And the fact that he broke the record for the most goals by an American-born player in LCA with the Wings, that was pretty awesome. And he gets to keep extending that record for 2 more years.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Red Wings fans. I'm just going to say this. I hope you have enjoyed having Patrick Kane in your winged wheel jerseys because he's ours again now. Sorry, Chicago's taking him back. We've re-signed him. But
I'm not apologizing for it. No, you don't apologize. We knew this was going to happen when you said the report that it was you're going to be the Hawks or the Sabres. So Wings fans had a good feeling he was not coming back. So if anything, that's totally fine. And we only play you twice a season now, so no hard feelings.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish we played more than 2 times a year, like 6 or 8 games a year, kind of what we used to do back then. I miss those days.
I don't miss the West Coast, the late nights in the West Coast for the Western Conference games, though.
That stuff I don't blame you for. But I will say this, Patrick Kane, he did really well in that winged uniform, delivered a lot of offense for the Red Wings, and of course he was one of Stevie Y's best signings, of course, in free agency, as we talked about in last week's podcast. I will say this. The news of Patrick Kane's return to Chicago, it's been all over the place. Not just with the Blackhawks, making posts, but everybody, everything sports-wise in Chicago is so happy to have Patrick Kane back. And no one happier than, honestly, Wrigley Field. They posted a message on the historic, almost as historic as the scoreboard, is the marquee sign outside of the main baseball field for Wrigley Field. And there was a message on the marquee, "Welcome home, Patrick Kane."
Well, they also had a message for Pope Leo before it turned out that he was a Sox fan.
That marquee is it's special. And the messages, I've even heard some people can have messages personalized and displayed on the marquee. How that happens, I don't know.
There's definitely some cost in that as well. Although no message was over top of saying World Series champions a decade ago.
Absolutely. I had a T-shirt, and after the Cubs won the World Series, I actually got a T-shirt from Fanatics. It was the marquee, and on it said World Series champs. It was a really, really unique T-shirt. I think I still have it.
Speaking of the Pope, I wonder if he's happy.
I'm sure he is, being
because
from
we all know the Pope's ours in many ways.
Mm-hmm. He loves the Chicago sports. So a couple other things I want to mention. Of course, in addition to the marquee at Wrigley Field, also the Chicago Blackhawks shop. As soon as the news was announced that Patrick Kane had re-signed with the Blackhawks, they were quick to just snap their fingers and boom, Patrick Kane jerseys on sale on the website and in the store, just like that. They wasted no time.
Can you blame them? They got that built. They got plenty of places you can buy the stuff, not just at the United Center. But I remember there was a special Chicago's team store at Rate Field that has all the Chicago teams bar the Cubs for obvious reasons. And of course, there's the Cubs and Blackhawks combined store on Michigan Avenue in the Mag Mile. So there's that.
Yep, I remember some of those places. I remember seeing that store at Rate Field that you mentioned. We walked right past it, of course. Remember, good times, Tyler. Good time. To close off this happy and energetic news that Patrick Kane is back in, rightfully so, in the Blackhawks jersey. So what I'm looking for from Kane is, the biggest impact. Okay, I'm not worried about how many goals he's going to score. I'm more worried. I want to see him be, what Marian Hossa was to those Stanley Cup winning teams for the Chicago Blackhawks. I want to see him take on a leadership role and help the young guns like Connor Bedard take that next step in their career. I tell you what, that 88-98 combo, whoo, it's going to be lethal. Cannot wait to see it in October. Well, I'm going to have to wait till November because Bedard's got to heal up first. But come November, I'm licking my chops. I cannot wait for 88-98.
You have fun with that.
I'm going to enjoy it.
Have fun with that.
It's going to be a blast. I mean, that place is going to be so loud when on opening night for the the home opener game for the Blackhawks when Patrick Kane returns the people are going to be so loud. It's going to be something special. Cannot wait.
Tickets won't be too easy to get.
No, indeed. All right, Patrick Kane, welcome back to the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's build up the next generation of the Blackhawks, the legends. All right, shifting gears, final subject of the day. Well, sports fans, the World Cup has come and it has gone. But we do have some final thoughts. First of all, I want to start by congratulating the Conquistadors of Spain on winning their second World Cup title and holding off a fantastic and a high-powered Argentina offense to win a well-deserved second title. Some game, huh, Tyler?
That they did. And hey, congrats to them. This will be the first time a World Cup host in the next World Cup is the defending champ. So they get not just the rest of this year to celebrate, but they got plenty of time to bask in that success until 2030, when they have matches in Madrid and Barcelona and other places throughout the country.
That is going to be a fantastic home field advantage for a defending World Cup champ. And the thing is, Spain is good. I think the Spanish team is good enough to repeat, of course, in 2030. Now, whether or not they will, of course, remains to be seen. A lot could change within 4 years, but that home field advantage is gonna make them even tougher to beat. And as Tyler mentioned, Madrid, Barcelona, and any of those cities in Spain. And you know what? It would not surprise me if they not only win their group with ease, but pretty much get to play all their games in the heart of Spain.
Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. Yeah, anything's possible.
Nothing is impossible. I mean, again, hard to repeat, but this Spain team, they're young, they're fast, and, great balance on both sides. They had great offense, and they were attacking Argentina all game. They were going straight down the middle or on the sides, finding any holes that they could find in this Argentina defense, and they found plenty in this game to exploit. Of course, the score doesn't indicate it, but this Spanish team, they were on the attack, and eventually, finally, in extra time, let's just say the dam broke, and Spain was able to get a nice top-shelf goal, and the only goal that they would need to win this World Cup. Argentina had a good run. They had a chance in the end, but I think, you know what? The pressure, what mounted a lot on this Argentina team and the magic, it just finally ran out in New York.
That it did. And good job, America, hosting both of the World Cup matches. Canada and Mexico also did great, too. Really enjoyed seeing all the social media posts from Europeans that enjoyed their time here, fawning over places like Chick-fil-A, Buc-ee's, and the love of ranch dressing. Seriously, of all the things, the most plain of salad dressings, wow, the Europeans.
That right there, what Tyler is speaking of, that is one of the many pieces of the legacy of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, or one of the lot of great things to remember. The fans, those Vikings from Norway, this Tartan Army from Scotland, Messi looking for history, of course, Spain winning the World Cup, and the United States being the United States, of course, not the soccer team, but the country being a big winner in this World Cup because, despite some of what the media had said about our country, people got to see the country for themselves and what it was all about, and it felt good to see the positive things that people from all around the world had to say about their visit towards the United States. A lot of good things that came out of this World Cup. And, of course, there's some things we'd like to forget about, like, the hydration breaks, VAR, of course. Even want to talk about VAR.
VAR is basically here to stay. It's been the main thing for a while. Hydration breaks, I wouldn't be surprised if they get scrapped entirely, but you never say never. You never know.
Yep. Another piece of this legacy for this FIFA World Cup, this was the last one for a lot of legends of the game. Guys like Neymar Jr. and Cristiano Ronaldo.
And retired. Messi, it's looking like it's going to be his last. So, yeah, eras have to end eventually.
A lot of eras that ended here in the United States. And if this is it for Messi, though, nothing but respect for that guy. He has nothing to hang his head about. He gave it his own. Argentina just came up short against a team in Spain that was very underrated. And even I overlooked this Spanish team, especially at the start, where they struggled a bit, having, I think, tied their first game. And they didn't look like the favorite to win the World Cup. But as they kept playing, they kept getting hotter, and they started catching fire at the right time. And And I overlooked that Spanish team a lot. And when they got past France, I'm like, they could beat Argentina. They really could. They've got the formula in place. And sure enough, great defense along with a potent enough offense to not only challenge Argentina, but exploit weaknesses and all that stuff. So, again, congrats to Spain on winning the World Cup. And Argentina, good run. And Lionel Messi, thanks for making the World Cup all the fun to watch. And wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Now the question is, who televises the 2030 World Cup in the U.S.? Does Fox, if FIFA bundles the English and Spanish rights, does Fox keep them? Does NBC make a move to show up their Telemundo coverage of the NBC coverage? Or do they go back to Disney in some capacity? Or Do we go to YouTube or Netflix? So many questions. It's going to be interesting to watch what the future of the Men's World Cup is going to be for broadcast going forward. Because remember, the Women's World Cup in Brazil next year is going to be on Netflix. And 2031 as well, Netflix. So we might have just seen the end of the World Cup on traditional television. We'll just have to wait and see.
If that's the case, well, welcome to the streaming age, or should I say, welcome to the Netflix and chill and sports age, as they often say.
Well, we've had that edge since they started broadcasting Raw and Monday Night Raw, and especially with NFL games.
And for the record, I just want to say I watched a few games on a few of the World Cup games this year on Telemundo. Okay, no disrespect to the guys who speak Spanish, okay? They did a great job. It's just that I probably would have been better off watching on mute because I could not because I'm not very language proficient, so I couldn't understand what they were saying. So if I'm gonna watch games on Telemundo, I'm gonna have to do a better job learning Spanish just to understand what these guys are all talking about. They're great. Don't get me wrong. They're great broadcasters, but like I said, I got some work to do if I'm going to watch more games on Telemundo.
I wish I took Spanish in high school, but I just stuck to the Fox announcing very well about how infamous that can be, but it was just, for some of us who are just not multilingual or bilingual, it's just kind of easier to stick with your native tongue.
Yeah, pretty much. I might be one of those guys who's just, all I know is English for life. To close off this subject, though, once again, congrats to Spain on winning the World Cup. Congrats to all the teams on having fun in the World Cup. And also to America, to Canada, and Mexico. Great job, and thank you for making this World Cup the best one I've ever seen.
Oh, and the FIFA, good luck with your next one. Seriously, 3 games in South America, Morocco, Spain, and Portugal. Oh boy, that's going to be a lot of air travel between South America and Africa, not to mention the small hop over from the Iberian Peninsula to Morocco. It's going to get interesting. And another potential expansion. Really?
Can we just not kill every sport that we love? I mean, we saw this happen with the NCAA tournament. It doesn't need to happen to the World Cup again. I'm done talking about expansion. Somebody just smack me upside the head, please, or knock me out, or just don't wake me up. If we're living in a world where every tournament is expanded, trust me, Tyler, I feel you there. It's not a world I want to live in either. And
I've seen this BS happen with baseball. And now with March Madness. I need to take a chill pill.
All right. Well, the good news is all right, sports fans, to close things off, we're actually going to talk about a sport that we almost don't talk about on the show.
Because there's no U.S. Open qualifiers in Michigan.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to talk about tennis because this week's golden moment in sports revolves around the sport of tennis, the U.S. Open from 3 years ago, and one of everyone's favorite tennis players, Novak Djokovic. Can we see this awesome dance-off, please? And yes, this is a random fan, by the way, as far as I know.
Waving the towels. Nice.
And look at
And the brace.
Now, I've heard that Djokovic is, in addition to being great at tennis, he's pretty good at dancing, too.
Dang.
Here, he shows off his moves. So, sports fans, you be the judge. Who do you think won this dance-off? It's pretty close between these two.
I mean, hey, at least that's a type of fan on the field situation were okay to see.
Yeah, and the fact that Djokovic was just like, yeah, I'm going with it. Let this guy on. He was doing an interview, by the way, as this fan just came charging down and into the stands. Now, Novak Djokovic, he claims that this was not planned. Debatable. It's hard to tell. I'm pretty sure the fact that the fan easily got through, and I know there wasn't a whole lot of people at that moment, the U.S. Open, but the fact that the fan was able to come on to the court and have a dance-off with them, something tells me it was definitely planned. Djokovic may say it wasn't planned, but I think that's just his way of saying, nah, it actually was planned.
Someone's playing coy and not letting the tinfoil hat cloud their visions or mess up their brains. Yeah, it does seem a little fishy given the fact that we actually have footage of it. Because if you watch a football or baseball game where it gets interrupted with the fan on the field, whether it's some dumb protester or just a fan acting stupid, it never gets shown 9 times out of 10 for good reason. Here, it got shown.
And for good reason. And you know what? Hey, there was class act by Novak Djokovic to allow that fan to come on and just have a dance-off with them. Like that's a wholesome fan moment, and that's Djokovic being not only a class act, but a wholesome guy right there to let this fan just have his few seconds of fame, if you want to call it that. But this is awesome. I love it when sports fans get to meet their heroes, and it's not every day. Not only they get to meet the heroes, but they get to challenge them to pretty much an epic dance-off. We need stuff like this in sports. It's wholesome.
Please.
So, Novak Djokovic and that fan, they're the golden moment in sports this week. All right, sports fans, that's it for this week's Friday Roundtable. Again, special thanks to my man Tyler Lavalette for all his hard work, to Josh, Jim, Whitney, Denise, everybody here in the studio, WTV10, thank you so much for all you do. We couldn't do this without you. You guys are awesome. Follow us on Two Guys Talk Sports and other things for more videos like this. And same with follow us on Two Guys Talk Sports on Facebook, if you prefer that platform over YouTube, of course, because I do post these videos to both of these platforms. Just depends on what you prefer.
Absolutely.
Sports fans, once more, thank you for all your support. And with that, for now, we're going to say goodbye. This is Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Lavalette.
Wish you all a good weekend, everybody. Take care. Enjoy the beautiful weather this weekend.